Uber Eats spent over a decade and literally billions of dollars in venture capital to build this impenetrable global delivery empire.
Yeah, massive amounts of money.
Right. And they employ armies of Silicon Valley engineers just to maintain the code. But today, we're looking at a blueprint that claims you can legally clone their entire tech architecture.
Which is pretty wild to think about.
Yes, you can clone it, launch it in your own neighborhood, and do it in just 5 days. So welcome to today's deep dive. We're unpacking the hidden fast-track world of clone apps in the booming food delivery industry.
And, the source for this is a strategic guide from a development company called Enatega. They lay out a step-by-step roadmap for launching a white-label food delivery application.
Yeah, I found this document so fascinating.
Oh, totally. Because it completely shatters the illusion of the tech monopoly, right? It shows us how the underlying mechanics of these massive platforms are just, well, being commoditized and sold off the shelf.
Exactly. So our mission today is to figure out how everyday entrepreneurs are bypassing these massive tech barriers to enter a multi-billion-dollar market.
Right, and doing it quickly.
Yeah. Whether you are an aspiring entrepreneur looking for your next project, or you're prepping for a business strategy meeting, or even if you're just intensely curious about how the apps on your phone actually coordinate your life behind the scenes, this deep dive is going to completely change how you view the barrier to entry in the digital economy.
To really understand the audacity of this whole clone app strategy, we have to establish the sheer gravity of the giants we're talking about taking on here.
Yeah.
I mean, the numbers Enatega provides for Uber Eats alone are just staggering.
I was looking at those stats, and they really require some unpacking. Like in 2024, Uber Eats generated $13.7 billion in revenue.
Which is huge on its own.
It is. But their gross bookings reached $74.6 billion. That means over $74 billion worth of actual food moved through their system.
Yeah, and they're operating in 11,000 cities worldwide.
The stat that really blew my mind, though, was that 73% of respondents said they had used Uber Eats in the past 12 months.
Wow.
Almost 3/4 of the people surveyed. I mean, it's no wonder it's ranked third overall in the food and drink section of app stores. It feels less like an app and more like, I don't know, public utility infrastructure at this point.
Well, it is infrastructure, really.
Yeah.
And traditionally, building that kind of infrastructure from scratch is exactly what kept competitors out.
Because of the cost.
Exactly. The guide notes that if you wanted to hire an agency to build a custom food delivery app with this level of functionality today, you were looking at a minimum of $100,000 and 6 to 12 months of development time.
Minimum.
Right. You're paying for software architects, front-end designers, back-end database engineers.
QA testers, all of it.
Yeah, it's a massive capital sink before you ever even deliver a single pizza.
So $100,000 in a year of your life just to get to the starting line. Which brings us to the workaround, right?
Yeah.
The clone app.
Yes, the shortcut.
The source describes this as a customizable, ready-made, white-label food delivery script. And it cuts development costs by up to 70% and drastically reduces time to market.
Which is a game changer for anyone trying to enter this space.
Totally. But I want to pause on that term white label because it gets thrown around a lot. From what I understand, white labeling is basically like going to a massive factory that makes generic, high-quality cornflakes.
Okay, I like this analogy.
Right. You buy a ton of it, you put it in a box with your own supermarket's logo on it, and you sell it as your own. You didn't invent the cornflake, but legally and functionally, it is your product.
That is a great way to visualize it. You're basically licensing the underlying mechanics. But I will say, the word clone can sometimes mislead people.
How so?
Well, they hear clone and think this is a pirated copy or some flimsy counterfeit, like a fake watch you buy out of a trench coat.
Right, like it's illegal or sketchy.
Exactly. But in the software development world, a clone is a legitimate, highly customizable framework. You are adopting the proven operational architecture of Uber Eats, sure, but the underlying code is written independently by a company like Enatega to mimic that functionality.
So you aren't stealing Uber's proprietary code at all?
No, not at all. You're basically buying a prefabricated engine that does the exact same job.
Oh, I see. So if building an app from scratch is like hiring a high-end architect to design a custom mansion from the ground up, using a white label clone is like buying a really high-end prefabricated home.
That's spot on.
The foundation is poured, the plumbing works, the electrical is already wired inside the walls. You just get to paint it, pick the furniture, slap your logo on the front door, and move in.
The wiring analogy is particularly apt here because the most difficult part of building a food delivery app isn't making it look pretty on the screen.
It's not the user interface.
No, it's the synchronization. The source calls this a three-sided marketplace. You're constantly juggling three distinct groups of human beings in real time.
The customers, the restaurants, and the drivers.
Exactly. The customer's ordering the food, the restaurant's cooking the food, and the delivery partners or riders transporting the food.
Which means we aren't actually talking about just one app on a phone. The clone actually requires 4 distinct interfaces to function.
Right.
It's an entire ecosystem.
It really is. It's incredibly complex behind the scenes.
Let me see if I can break down the panels based on the guide. First, you have the customer app. That's the one you and I have on our phones.
Right.
It handles menu browsing, filtering, real-time order tracking, and multiple payment gateways. Second is the restaurant app, where the kitchen manages its incoming orders, updates menus, and tracks payments.
Yep, completely separate interface.
Third is the Writer app for the independent contractors, handling their registration, order pings, and customer reviews. And finally, the unseen fourth element, the admin panel.
Ah, the most important one.
Right. That's the central hub where the business owner monitors the entire circus.
And honestly, calling it a circus is an understatement. If the admin panel drops the ball on coordinating the restaurant and the rider, the whole system fails.
Yeah, the customer gets cold food, the restaurant gets a bad review, and the rider just wastes their time.
Exactly. The synchronization between those 4 interfaces has to be totally flawless.
See, this is where I struggle to see how an off-the-shelf clone can handle it. I mean, it's a relay race happening simultaneously across thousands of devices.
It's definitely a lot of moving parts.
If I buy this pre-built script, how does it reliably manage the real-time synchronization between 3 entirely independent parties? I imagine it's not just a bunch of code sitting on a server hoping for the best, right?
No, definitely not. The secret lies in APIs, application programming interfaces, and cloud synchronization.
Okay, unpack that a bit.
An API is essentially a universal translator. It allows different software programs to talk to each other instantly. So when a customer hits checkout, the customer app uses an API to securely send a token to a payment gateway, like Stripe.
Right, so it doesn't process the card itself.
Exactly. Stripe processes the credit card, holds the funds, and then fires an automated signal, which is called a webhook back to your central cloud database.
Okay, so the cloud brain registers the payment. Then what? Does it just blast a message out to everyone at once?
Not at all. It runs a sequential algorithm. The cloud database instantly pushes a payload to the specific restaurant app, triggering that recognizable ringing sound in the kitchen.
Oh, right, the tablet on the counter.
Yep, a restaurant taps accept. But here's the clever part. Only when the food preparation reaches a certain time threshold does the cloud database ping the GPS API to find the nearest available rider.
Wait, really? It doesn't ping them immediately?
No, because it calculates the rider's travel time to the restaurant to ensure they arrive just as the food is being boxed. You don't want the rider standing around waiting for 20 minutes.
That makes total sense. So the value of the clone isn't just the visual buttons on the screen.
Exactly. The true value is that this highly complex, latency-sensitive relay race has already been mapped out, coded, and pressure tested for you.
Okay, that illuminates the mechanics for me. The clone has already solved the latency chaos. You're basically buying the automated air traffic controller.
That's a great way to put it.
But all that perfect automated wiring means absolutely nothing if the code just sits in a vacuum, you know? You still have to bring it into the real world, which actually brings up a massive contradiction I noticed in our source material regarding the timeline.
Ah, yes. You're referring to the 5-day launch hook.
Yes. The marketing hook at the very top of the guide boldly claims you can launch your white label Uber Eats clone app in 5 days.
Yeah, that's a bold claim.
Very bold, especially since the guide also lays out a rigorous 7-step blueprint, right? Market research, identifying requirements, selecting the tech stack, designing the UI, development, testing and deployment, and finally, support and maintenance.
Right, which sounds like a lot more than 5 days of work.
Staring at this list, it's not a straight line at all. It feels like 2 distinct mountains to climb. The first mountain is just getting the software to exist. The second is getting the business to actually survive.
Absolutely.
And sure enough, if you scroll all the way down to the FAQ section at the bottom of the document, the truth comes out. It says basic deployment takes 5 to 6 weeks, and a fully customized, scaled version takes 3 to 6 months.
The fine print always gets you.
Right. How do we reconcile this if step 1 is thorough market research and step 6 is rigorous bug testing? That 5-day claim is pure fantasy, isn't it?
Well, it is marketing spin, for sure. But it's actually based on a technicality.
A technicality.
Yeah. When they say 5 days, they are strictly referring to step 5, deploying the out-of-the-box base code. If you purchase the raw script, rent a cloud server from Amazon Web Services, and just upload the code with zero customization.
Wait, so keeping the default colors, placeholder logos, dummy data, all of it.
Exactly. If you do that, yes, the technical deployment takes less than a week. The software physically exists on a server. It is technically launched.
But it's totally useless. Nobody can actually order from it.
Precisely. Building a successful business around that code requires the realistic 3 to 6 month timeline. The tech deployment is fast, but business deployment takes time.
I see.
Let's consider step 6, for example, testing and deployment. You can't just put an app on the Apple App Store or Google Play Store instantly. Both Apple and Google have really rigorous review processes.
Especially for apps that handle financial transactions, I'd imagine.
Yes, and background location tracking for the writers. They notoriously reject white label apps if they look too generic or if they don't meet strict privacy guidelines.
Wow, I hadn't even thought of that. You have to get past the gatekeepers of the app stores themselves. And you also mentioned payment gateways earlier. You can't just flip a switch and start processing thousands of credit card transactions out of nowhere.
Exactly. Setting up a merchant account with Stripe or Braintree involves serious financial underwriting. They need to verify your business entity, your bank accounts, your refund policies.
Just to prevent fraud, right.
Right. And that alone can take weeks. Then you have to customize the UI to match your local brand, maybe translate the app if you are operating in a non-English market.
And run beta tests. You'd have to test it with real restaurants to ensure the notification sounds are actually loud enough to be heard in a noisy kitchen.
Exactly. Real-world testing is non-negotiable.
So it's really the difference between having a shiny new delivery truck parked in your driveway and actually having gas in the tank, insurance, a licensed driver, and a route map.
That's a perfect analogy.
Which leads us to the final and arguably most important hurdle. Let's say you survive the 6 months. You have a beautiful, fully functional, approved app. What happens when this clone goes live in the real world?
That's where the real game begins.
Because the source is surprisingly transparent about the roadblocks you face on day one.
Yeah, having the technology no longer guarantees success. The guide highlights several major challenges right out of the gate.
Like what?
Competing with the original giants like DoorDash and Zomato, for one. Establishing an online presence from scratch, ensuring contactless payment security, and forming partnerships with local restaurants.
That last point, forming partnerships, is the entire ballgame. And this requires us to really look at the economics of it all.
Right, because the models are different.
The source points out that different giants use different revenue models. Like Zomato and DoorDash use subscription plans, while Uber Eats relies heavily on commissions taken directly from the restaurant's order total, alongside delivery fees charged to the customer.
And that commission model is a huge friction point. A platform like Uber Eats might take anywhere from 20 to 30% of the total order value from the restaurant.
Let's do the math on that because it's crucial for understanding this. Say I own a local burger joint.
Okay.
And a customer orders a $30 meal through Uber Eats. The platform keeps, what, $9 of that?
Yeah, around there.
My profit margin in the restaurant business is incredibly thin to begin with, maybe 10 to 15% on a good day. So on a $30 order, my actual profit was supposed to be $3 or $4.
Right.
If Uber takes $9, I am literally losing money on that delivery. I am only doing it to keep my kitchen busy and hope for volume, or I'm forced to just inflate my prices on the app just to break even.
Exactly. And this is the exact vulnerability the Clone app exploits. The source told us earlier that 81% of restaurants say Uber Eats is beneficial to their financial health.
But that's a tricky stat, isn't it?
It is, because that often means top-line revenue, not necessarily bottom-line profit.
Yeah.
Restaurant owners notoriously resent the high commission fees of the global giants.
Okay, so as the owner of the local clone app, I show up to that burger joint. They don't know me. I don't have a multi-million-dollar marketing budget. How do I convince them to join my app?
That's the million-dollar question.
I can't out-tech Uber Eats, but I can outprice them. If I own the clone, I don't have thousands of Silicon Valley engineers to pay. My overhead is incredibly low. I just have server costs and local marketing.
Right.
So I can walk into that restaurant and say, hey, I'm only going to charge you a 10% commission. Keep your profits.
And you've hit on the fundamental shift in the gig economy right there.
Yeah.
The technology is no longer the differentiator.
It's not.
No. 10 years ago, simply having a working app that could track a driver on a map was a massive competitive advantage. It was magic. But today, Anyone can buy that magic off the shelf. Therefore, the new competitive moat isn't code. It's community relationship building and unit economics.
So it's about being the local diner instead of the massive fast food chain. You are competing on human terms.
Exactly.
You know the restaurant owners by name. You can offer hyper-local customer service. If an order goes wrong, the restaurant owner or the customer can literally call your cell phone rather than navigating some global customer service chatbot.
Or consider hyper-local marketing, which the giants are just too big to execute effectively. A local clone owner can sponsor the neighborhood Little League soccer team.
Oh, that's smart.
They can partner with the local high school, they can hand out physical flyers in the town square, they can target specific niche communities, smaller suburban towns, or even college campuses where the global algorithms haven't heavily saturated the market yet.
You are adapting to the local ecosystem in a way a global entity simply cannot.
Right. The challenge entirely shifts from how do I build the complex software to how do I build deep community trust?
Because the three-sided marketplace only functions if the customers, the restaurants, and the writers all believe they're getting a fair deal.
Exactly. By lowering the overhead, the clone allows you to offer cheaper delivery for the customer, higher pay for the writer, and lower commissions for the restaurant.
I mean, that is the theoretical ideal, right? But it still requires flawless execution.
Oh, definitely. You still have to manage writer churn, handle refunds for cold food, and keep the app updated as iOS and Android release new operating systems. The software might be a clone, but the daily grind of running a logistics business is 100% authentic.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Let's bring this all together. The barrier to entering the gig economy tech space has completely shifted.
It really has.
It used to be about having massive capital. You needed $100,000, a year of patience, and a team of specialized coders just to build the infrastructure. Now, with white label clone apps, that digital fortress has a back door.
The technology is highly accessible now.
Exactly. The incredibly complex relay race of syncing customers, restaurants, and writers via APIs and cloud databases, it's all pre-programmed.
But the trade-off is that the battlefield has moved from the digital world to the physical world. The barrier to entry is low, which means literally anyone can try it.
So the competition is fierce.
Very. The winners won't be the ones with the best code. They will be the ones who execute local marketing, build undeniable trust, and manage the economics of that three-sided marketplace flawlessly in their specific community.
It really makes you rethink who actually holds the power in the app economy. We assume the global giants are unshakable because of their technology, but if their technology is easily replicable, their only real asset is momentum.
That's a profound way to look at it.
Which leaves us with a final, slightly provocative thought for you to mull over. If complex, multi-million-dollar app architectures can now be cloned and customized by almost anyone for a fraction of the cost, what happens in 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, what's next?
What if every single local community decides to ditch the global tech giants? Could the future of the internet look less like a handful of monolithic global monopolies and more like a massive, decentralized patchwork of highly localized, neighborhood-owned digital clones?
It's definitely possible.
It's like finding out you don't need to shop at the massive impersonal superstore anymore because someone just handed your town the exact same blueprint. The digital fortress isn't so impenetrable after all, you just have to know how to use the keys.